In this video, I'm going to talk about litigation mitigation. So let's take a look at how this impacts your CPA firm. So many CPA firms focus on compliance with professional standards, such as the audit standards. That's a great thing. I'm all for that. But the thing that we don't do sometimes is sit back and think about, do I have any clients that create a high level of litigation exposure? In other words, do I have any clients where I could get sued and lose a lot of money? Now, we can get sued in regard to any work that we do for any client, but is there one or two or three clients that you have where if you were sued, you could lose a substantial amount of money? So here's an example. Let's say that a new client calls you today and they say to you, we're going to pay you $100,000 a year to do this audit, but you have no experience with that industry, you have no experience with that client, your knowledge is small in relation to what they do, but you're thinking, $100,000 a year, that'd be nice to have. And if we take that client on and then we don't gain the knowledge we need to do that engagement, then that $100,000 income each year might turn into, say, a $5 million outflow in a payment related to litigation because things didn't go right. So some clients have a high level of complexity and they have significant risk, and that's usually related to debt. So if you've got clients that have a great deal of debt and the industry is complex, then you've got more litigation exposure for those types of clients. You may have other clients, say like nonprofits, and maybe your nonprofit client generates $2 million a year in revenues, and there's not a lot of complexity. There your litigation exposure is much less, or maybe you audit some small governments. Now, governments can be complex, but if it's a small government, maybe it's not that hard to audit. Maybe there's not a lot of money there. Maybe there's no debt there. Then the risk exposure in terms of potential litigation is much less. Now, one thing to think about is do you have insurance for your CPA firm? So if you're doing accounting and auditing work, you need to look at insurance for your CPA firm, and I would encourage you to do that. Now, the other thing that we can do is this. Just simply sit down with your book of business. Maybe you've got 50 or 60 audit, compilation, review clients. Look at that list and then ask yourself, are there any of these clients that have high levels of debt or any other factors that might potentially adversely affect our firm if we are sued? And there, I bet if you do this, you're going to see one or two that are higher risk in nature, whereby if you were sued by those one or two clients, you could lose a lot of money. So let's say you've got a client that has 300 million in debt. Then if you get sued by that client, I can promise you the lenders will be looking at you. If you have another client that has 200,000 in debt, well, the lenders may look at you, but you don't have the kind of exposure that you would have with the 300 million in debt. So think about your list of clients. Think about what you do for them. Audits are riskier because you're given a higher level of assurance. Compilations are less risky, though you can lose money there as well. But think about your book of business. How much potential litigation exposure do you have in relation to the types of work that you do? I think if you'll go through this exercise of looking at your clients, you'll sleep better at night. At least you will have thought through this process. If you're a managing partner in a CPA firm, I definitely would encourage you to do this. Or maybe if you got a partnership of, say, 5 to 10 partners, get together with 2 or 3 of those partners, maybe with all of them, and go through this exercise of looking at your clients and seeing if there are any that have a high litigation risk exposure. Now, you may do this and then you may decide we're going to keep these clients, but you might decide to say hire some new personnel that have more knowledge in those areas, and that will lessen the risk. Obviously, that's up to you. I'm just saying, think about the litigation risk, and in regard to that, you might let that client go, or you might do some other things like getting more continuing education or hiring people with expertise in those areas. So regardless of what you do, I hope it goes well for you. Good to see you, and I'll see you again in the next video. Take care, and bye now.